Hello, Doomsters. We're back. We've had a bit of a hiatus for 2 weeks, but we're back on the desks this week. This is music for the end of the world. I'm Chris, and I'm joined once again in the studio by Cass.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Cass. And it's so good to be back. Although, that said, we have had a lovely time in the last 2 weeks. Up north.
In the sunshine and the warmth.
In the sunshine and the warmth. Oh, yeah. I almost got sunburnt. Beautiful. Up in sunny Queensland. And can I just give a shout out to all of Queensland, because I don't know if people know this who don't live in Queensland, but public transport, train, bus, ferry, is all 50 cents.
Yeah, superb. Superb. What an incredible initiative.
50 cents.
Get people off the roads and offer them very affordable transport.
Yeah, I think it's up to 6 hours travelling. So after 6 hours, you've got to pay another 50 cents. Oh, you know. So, well done, Queensland.
Pretty good.
Yep. People always make fun of the Queenslanders, but I've got to say, they've got their public transport system down pat. Yes, so tonight we're back. We're going to be talking about, well, those rich bastards, Cass, and what they're doing to us. And also, I think a little bit of a mention of David Suzuki, who came out in an interview on iPolitico. I think it was iPolitico.
iPolitico.
While we were away.
I think it was just before we went away.
Just before we left.
Just before we went away, he came out with his new announcement and his call on where it's all at.
Where it's all at. And basically it's too late, Doomsters, as we all know. As we all know. It's all those people with their heads in the sand that don't know. But, he's come out and has told it like it is. Babe, that's what I thought. Finally, a scientist comes out and tells it like it is.
Yeah, I think he's most probably one of the.
Why don't more of them do it? I mean, they're all so worried about their. I mean, I suppose they are about their careers and paychecks each week. I mean, we've all got mortgages and stuff, and they don't want to lose their research grants or whatever. But it was. I just found it really refreshing to have a scientist come out.
The whole thing, I think, as we always keep saying, is that it's about. You know, in all cases, whether it be, Indigenous Australia or world politics or whatever, is actually just tell the truth, give people the facts and let them decide. So David Suzuki is not saying that everyone has to adhere or agree to what he's saying, but he's just saying his call is that all the points or the tipping points have all been passed and it's
now we should be bunkering down.
He does also. I think he does within that. He does offer. There are things that you can be doing, but it's just that reality check of saying, don't pretend that we can actually correct this whole whole trajectory we're on. You cannot recorrect.
That's right.
The damage and the things that have been done, but you can do things to make life better. And try
just
and
like Just
work out
Collapse
how it goes.
Basically, he was just coming out with saying what Just Collapse is, which is local relationships, community relationships, and everything on a local level. That's basically what it is. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, Doomsters. And music-wise, Cass, I'm doing all Aussie, baby.
Except for one.
Except for one, and we all know what that is. The great gimmies. We always play the gimmies. But otherwise, it's some of my favourite Aussie tunes. So all those people listening overseas, I know there's a few listening over in the States and Canada.
And in Wales.
Kiwiland, and in Wales. That's right, big shout out to all the Welsh friends over there, sitting in their garden. I think
autumn weather.
In their autumn weather, apparently the weather's changed. People up in Queensland, shout out to Belly, thinking of you.
Shout out locally.
And, of course, to all our local friends listening too. Shout out to Hugo up the coast and a whole bunch of other people. And I've got a little friend of mine is playing in Merimbula this Friday night. If you're looking for something to do on Friday at Merimbula Twyford Theatre, where I think they had Oliver there one time or something. I've never been there myself. And he's one of the first bands to play. The Richard Charles Band is playing there on Friday, I think 7 o'clock. The gig starts off. All original tunes.
Who say? Sorry?
Richard Charles Band.
Uh-huh. Perfect.
Just got a new CD out, I think. So support your local artists. They'll be playing at the Twyford Theatre this Friday at 7 o'clock. Now, back to our music list. I mean, we won't get through them all. We never do. But, well, who we got? John Butler, of course. The Oils. Dan Sultan. Pegram Brothers. I mean, there's so many. I don't know. Nick Barker. Cruel Sea. Chocolate Cake. There's a whole bunch. Let's start off with an old one. An oldie but a goodie. It was actually my second album I ever bought. John Paul Young.
You had to love JPY.
JPY. And here we got, and this is, and it was written by, because I think the Vander Young produced it. That's one of the Young brothers. The other two are in AC/DC. George Young, I think, is the one there. Harry Vander, George Young. And they wrote the song and produced it. St. Louis. Welcome back, Doomsters. Here it is, JPY with St. Louis.
All alone now.
great John Paul Young. Is he still alive, babe? I reckon he still is. Oh, he might be. Anyway, St. Louis. From the late 70s, I believe. The greatest decade in music, I've got to say, Doomsters. All right, back to David Suzuki. Now, just briefly going to be talking a little bit about David Suzuki because I want to talk about all those rich bastards and what they're doing. But he did an interview with iPolitico, and I'm going to read a little bit out from the interview. And the headline, of course, is "It's too late. David Suzuki says the fight against climate change is lost. We have failed to shift the narrative and we're still caught up in the same legal, economic and political systems," he says. "For me now, what we've got to do is hunker down," says David. And he goes on to say in the interview that Mark Carney, who's now the leader of Canada, who was helped into the top spot by Orange Man there, going on about Canada, and I think everyone sort of hated Trump so much they voted for Carney. But as far as David Suzuki is concerned, Mark Carney, he says, is the most well-informed Prime Minister on climate change that we have had. This is Canada. They have had. And he spoke to Mark Carney when he was head of the Bank of England, and it's very clear that he understands the threat we face, says David, with climate change and the need to act immediately. And the problem is, of course, it's all about politics. And politics is disconnected from the real world. And David goes on to say that he absolutely disagreed with Carney when he was speaking to him, that the economy and market forces need to be used because the economy itself is what's driving us over the cliff. It's based on the creed of cancer, steady growth. That's it, people. Infinite growth on a finite planet. And you can't have endless growth in a finite world, as David says. And this global economy is far too big. It's got to shrink. So forget degrowthing. Think low energy. And it's got to be distributed more equitably around the world, which is why I think Just Collapse strike a chord with me, because that's what they're all about. And David goes on to say, it's crazy that we celebrate people who are billionaires. It should be illegal, for Christ's sake. It's got nothing to do with money, he says, and everything to do with how big their dick is. We should have awards, and whenever someone achieves 100 million, which is already obscene, says David Suzuki, we should give them a bronze statue of a dick. And then when they get to 1 billion, we can give them an even bigger statue of a dick, because that's what it's all about. And then give the rest of the money back. So that's David's attitude, and I've got to say it corresponds pretty close to mine. Yeah, it's... He goes, now in Canada, we run around saying that Vancouver is a world-class community. What the fuck are we talking about, says David? How do you evaluate a city based on the number of billionaires and corporations? I'm just quoting verbatim here.
The language is David Suzuki.
Yes. To me, if you want to see a world-class city, you look at the state of your weakest, poorest and most vulnerable people. That has got to be the measure of our society. Yeah. So
I just think, I've always admired David Suzuki, and prior to his, I suppose, more recent years comments, but maybe going back about 10 years, he's just a very grounded person.
Yeah.
I think at one point he sort of said, you know, if you were going to die in 1 week or in whatever period of time,
yeah,
what are the things that you would want to do or be doing? You know, what are the things that are important to you? And see people come up with a list of all the things, the kinds of things that we know, family, friends.
yes. It's not making another $1 billion.
And he was saying, and the thing is, do them now.
Yeah.
Do them now.
Don't put them off.
For a death sentence. So I suppose that's sort of...
Yeah. No, look, I've always had a lot of respect for David. And then they asked him about Carney, saying, do you think he's an environmentalist? And David says, yes, I think he understands the climate issue. He understands that we're going over the cliff. But he really thinks that you can fix it, do it, by using market techniques. And David goes on to say, the problem is that he's a politician now. And he's behaving like a politician. So economic growth, which is the driving force of politics and business, is what determines our fate, unfortunately. Yeah. And they asked him, well, where do you find the motivation to continue speaking to the values that you believe are important? Do you think people can do things to change things? And he says, I believe that an informed public will do the right thing. In the 80s, it was right at the top of what people were talking about. And they had the first international conference on the atmosphere in 88.
I think that's what's frightening, though, isn't it? We're talking about, as I said...
Well, at the end of that conference in 1988, babe... they said that global warming represented a threat to humanity, second only to nuclear war. So after nuclear war, global warming was the next biggest threat to humanity. This is 1988. And he says if the world had followed those conclusions and actually acted on them, then we wouldn't have the problem we face today. But now, unfortunately, he says, it is too late. I've never said this before to the media, but it's too late. This is quoting from David. And I say that because I go by science. And Johan Rockström, who is a Swedish scientist who heads the Potsdam Institute, who's defined the 9 planetary boundaries. So these are all the constraints on how we live, you know. For example, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, the pH of the oceans, the amount of available fresh water, the nitrogen cycle, all these different things are all planetary boundaries, right? And they have to be within a certain range for life to flourish. And there are 9 of them. And we've really only dealt with one of them, which is the ozone layer, and we did a great job. If you remember back when you were a child about the ozone layer, the hole in the ozone layer, and we think we saved ourselves from that threat, says David. But then he goes on to say, but we've passed the 7th boundary this year. We're in the extreme danger zone. And David Suzuki says, if we pass one boundary, we should be shitting our pants. And we have passed 7. 7 planetary boundaries. And if you look at these boundaries, David goes on, like the amount of carbon in the atmosphere, we've had 28 COP meetings. The last couple have been in huge fossil fuel countries on climate change, and we haven't been able to cap emissions at all since they started. In fact, we have increased. That's right. That's right.
And you look, going back to, that comment from David about all the different other areas that are of concern. You look, immediately at the moment, like in Australia, apart from the normal climactic kinds of challenges, but look at the algae bloom in South Australia.
Oh man! For those of you who are not in Australia who don't know about it, this is our algae bloom down in South Australia, which is covered, I think, over 1,000 square kilometres.
And everything's dead.
Everything in the from the floor of the ocean to the top of the ocean is all dead. Crabs, fish, sharks, everything. Rays, everything. Seaweed, everything is just dead. Yeah. And now we're trying to get our government to admit that it's a natural disaster, which they're not doing. Back to David, though. He says, look, I'm not giving up in the sense of not doing anything, but Trump's election was a dagger in my heart, says David. His win was the triumph of capitalism and neoliberalism. And, of course, it's going to wreak havoc. There's nothing we can do about that. We need revolution. Can we have a peaceful revolution, asked David? I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm saying as an environmentalist, we have failed to shift the narrative, and we're still caught up in the same legal, economic and political systems. So for me, what we've got to do now is hunker down. The units of survival are going to be local communities, just like what Just Collapse says, Cass. So I'm urging local communities to get together. And he gives an example in Finland. I don't know if you've heard this, Cass. I think we've spoken about this before. It's offering a great example because the Finnish government has sent a letter to all their citizens warning of future emergencies, whether they're earthquakes, floods, droughts, storms, whatever. They're going to come, and they're going to be more urgent, and they're going to be more prolonged, and they're going to come more often. And they've sent out a warning to all their citizens saying, you need to have this, this, and this, and this, all these supplies in your house.
The reasons for that reality that we can see already in Australia
Yeah.
and around the world is that governments cannot bail out
No.
populations.
Well, David goes on to say governments will not be able to respond, just as you said, Cass, on the scale or the speed that's needed for these emergencies. So Finland is telling their citizens that they're going to be at the front line of whatever hits, and they better be sure you're ready to meet it. So find out who on your block can't walk, because you're going to have to deal with that. Who's got wheelchairs? Who's got fire extinguishers? Where's the available water? Have you got batteries or generators? Start assessing your routes of escape. You're going to have to inventory your community, and that's what we have to start doing, says David. So that's what he means by hunkering down, which is basically what we say on this show, Cass.
But very interesting that you've only got one government, and as we keep saying, is that information is out there, and you know, politicians, people understand and can read the situation. However you want to determine collapse, whenever you think that it may or may not be, is the fact that our systems are coming under stress.
Yes.
And it's a good message.
Yes.
It's
a good message anyway. Even if it wasn't the end of the world as we know, it's a good message to act locally, build community relationships. That's a good thing. Yeah. All right, you're listening to music for the end of the world here. We're back, 93.7 Edge FM. And if you are not in the Bega Valley, if you unfortunately don't live here in God's own country, you can always stream us, as a lot of our friends are. Just go to our radio website, Google it, 93.7 Edge FM, and you'll find links on how to stream us. All right. Before a song, let's have a quick word from some of our lovely sponsors.
With a vision to create an inclusive world for all, Encore Support is now offering their compassionate care and services on the Sapphire Coast. Encore supports individuals of all ages to live in their communities with a sense of well-being, independence and belonging. Call them now on 02 4402 9231. They're ready to assist. Encore Support, the more you're looking for. Encore Support is a proud sponsor of 93.7 Edge FM.
My name is Nick Benson. I'm a registered tax agent and Xero certified advisor, and I've recently moved to the Bega Valley. If you're running a business or have a rental property, or if you just need help with your tax return, I can provide tax and bookkeeping services for you, and I can make sure you maximise your deductions. Individuals, sole traders and partnerships, and even multiple years are no problem. I can prepare tax returns back to 2014. You know, it's never too late to lodge your tax return. Call me on 0494 138 552. Find me on Facebook or the web by searching for NLB Tax. NLB Tax is proud to support your local community radio station, Edge FM.
Thank you, our lovely sponsors. And I can personally recommend Nick because he does my tax as well. He's a terrific guy. Really good. You're listening to Music for the End of the World here on 93.7 Edge FM. And we're coming up to another song, another great Aussie song. We've seen this guy, John Butler, quite a few times. He's
very
terrific.
talented.
Very talented. And this is probably, I think this was his big first hit. And I've seen it a couple of times. He always plays this song, usually as an encore, and it usually goes on for like a long time because the solo just goes on and on and on, which I love. But this is the album version. Only goes for 3 minutes or so. John Butler with Pick Apart. Oh, yeah. John Butler. Pick apart. Now, what are you laughing at, Cass? Now,
your
Cass has just informed me that,
enthusiasm.
well, actually, a friend of ours from Wales just informed me that, and he's in Wales, God knows how he knows, but is it Triple J's greatest Hottest 100 on this weekend? Is that right, Cass?
Yes, as I heard on the radio on
It's
ABC,
the greatest
ABC this
of
morning.
all time Hottest 100? It's not this year's Hottest 100, because if it is this year's Hottest 100, I won't even bother listening to it.
No. So it's over. It's greatest. And
It's the
other,
greatest.
The other thing though that made me sort of think it's not even necessarily a compilation of. You don't have to choose from artists who've been in previous Hottest 100s. I think you're still just nominating, because they said this morning that in that top 20 there was someone who has not appeared in the
Ever in the Hottest 100.
Hottest 100 that's in there, that's now obviously been voted in.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean,
definitely worth it.
basically, you can wipe out the last 10, 15 years, I reckon, of Hottest 100. It's been rubbish. You can get back to the 90s, man. Yes, all right. Well, all the songs we're playing tonight, I would expect them to be definitely in there somewhere in the greatest of all times Hottest 100.
We will see.
And if not,
We
it's
will
a
see.
travesty. I mean, didn't the Wiggles win it one year? I mean, give me a
that's
break.
when we really had to
The
turn it off.
bloody Wiggles.
On a cover as
I mean,
well.
I hated
a
them even
cover.
when we took our little kids to their shows. I don't like when I don't have little kids. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Music for the end of the world. Let's have one more song, then we're going to be talking. Oh, before we do, just one last thing about David Suzuki, Cass. I mentioned how not happy, but respectful or just of David coming out and saying that, like a scientist coming out,
Yeah.
a scientist of great renown and public acclaim coming out, telling it like it is, that we have lost. There is no way we're going to win, and then we need to hunker down and start building local relationships. And I wonder why more don't. You know, the other scientist who would, if he come out and it would make a splash on all the main media.
Attenborough?
Exactly.
I know. I was thinking
What's
that.
David doing? He makes all these lovely documentaries about whales and all this crap.
Well-
Why does, and he says, oh yes, but we need to do this if we're going to do that, if we're going to do this. If. There is no if, David. We're off the cliff, brother. We're going down. There is no if. Come on out and say it, man. I mean, how old is he? Is he 102 or something?
No, I think he's
Just
90
come out and
something.
say it, David. Wouldn't you have a great deal of respect for him if he did?
Well, I think, as you said, I mean, like, I know that you talk about it a lot in that space. That what is so frustrating, and you watch programs and you listen to people talking, and it's all very interesting, but it's just that next
next step, saying we have lost.
you know, which when you think about things is
The last step.
Well, the last question you always ask in doesn't matter what area or field that you're working in is, you know, so what, or what's the what. So when
Yeah.
you say this is happening, this is happening, this is happening,
Yeah.
so what?
So
what does that
mean?
And that's the bit that people then they tend to
Yes.
sort of go, well, let people draw their own conclusions.
We can't say that.
But
No, that's right.
well, I'm sure there'd be sort of
I mean, there are a
some
few.
reason just.
You know,
I know, but I think the reason
Guy McPherson,
why people
Will-
don't come out.
Bill Rees. I mean, there are a bunch. Jim Hansen and stuff. But to really big name ones like Suzuki or David Attenborough, you know, who has a big mass mainstream media appeal. Those are the guys that need to come out and really say it. And I'm afraid, David, you're a squib, my friend. Go back to your whales because you're useless doing what you're doing. I'm sorry, babe. I know you think that's very harsh. Well,
very harsh.
after David has come
Absolutely.
out, after Mr.
Absolutely.
Suzuki has come out and said it like it is, I got no respect
Well,
for
I
the
think
others.
David Suzuki coming out, I think, could lead to other people sort of saying
I hope
maybe
so.
it's time
I hope so.
to start giving their take on it.
Because the powers that be certainly ain't. And that brings us to our next song. And this definitely has got to be the greatest ever, hottest 100. It's the Oils, babe, and I know you love them. We've seen them many times. Good old Pete, Midnight Oil, and I think, for me, this is their greatest song. I know you don't agree with
Bring
me.
it on. Oh, no. Well,
I mean,
bring
it's a
it
good
on
one,
and I'll
but
tell you.
you might like Beds of
Okay.
Burning or something. But
Bring it on.
this one, the power and the passion.
Oh, no, it's a good one.
Because it tells it like it is. So good on you, David Suzuki. Good on your oils. And we'll be back talking about all those rich bastards after this song. Midnight Oil with the power and the passion.
People wasting away in paradise, going backwards once in a while, taking your time, give it a try. What do you believe? What do you believe? What do you believe is true? And nothing they say makes a difference this way. Nothing they say will do. You take all the trouble that you can afford. At least you won't have time to be born. At least you won't have time to be born. Oh, the power and the passion. Oh, the temper of the time. Oh, the power and the passion. Sometimes you got to take the hardest line. Sunburned faces around with skin so brown, smiling, zinc cream and crowd. Some days the beach, never a cloud. Breathing eucalyptus, pushing pan van, stuffing monks, junk food, laughing at the truth. 'Cause cop was tough till he hit the rough. Hey, Uncle Sam and John were quite enough. Too much of sunshine, too much of sky, just enough to make you wanna cry. It's
Ah, The Power and the Passion by the Oils. What a great song. I love it. That's got to be up there in the
Definitely up there in the hottest 100. Definitely
100 of all time, surely. All right. Back on to the topic which I've been meant to talk about. And before we do that, I think we will have our last two messages from our lovely sponsors.
Good idea.
Are you looking for a quality new or used car? You can't go past the South Coast's premium motor dealers, Rondoyle Motors and Eden Mazda, at 113 Princes Highway, Eden. They are dealers for Mazda, Isuzu and Nissan, as well as having a great range of quality used cars and full workshop and parts facilities. Rondoyle Motors and Eden Mazda are well known for their outstanding customer service and excellent workshop. Give them a call on 64961 420 or check out the website at rondoylemotors.com.au. Rondoyle Motors and Eden Mazda are sponsors of 93.7 Edge FM.
Tathra Tyres and Auto have been servicing motor vehicles in Tathra since 1993. Ron, Paddy and Matt are proud supporters of Bega's community radio station, 93.7 Edge FM.
Thank you, lovely sponsors, without whom we would not be able to function, go on air here at 93.7 Edge FM in the lovely Bega Valley. All right, I just wanted to talk a little bit, Cass, about the rich bastards. And this is from a Guardian article a couple of months ago in May, which has the heading, 2/3 of global heating caused by the richest 10%. And the subheading is, the paper in the Nature Climate Change Journal reveals the major role wealthy emitters play in driving climate extremes. And the story in The Guardian begins with an overview, that the world's wealthiest 10% are responsible for 2/3 of global heating since 1990, driving the droughts and heat waves in the poorest parts of the world, according to this study. And while researchers have previously shown that higher income groups emit disproportionately large amounts of greenhouse gases, the latest survey is the first to try to pin down how that inequality translates into responsibility for the climate breakdown. And I think it sort of offers a powerful argument, Cass, for climate finance, wealth taxes, by attempting to give an evidential-based basis for how many people in the developed world, and in this article it said including more than 50% of all full-time employees in the UK, and it'd be pretty similar in Australia and America as well, bear a heightened responsibility for the climate disasters affecting the people who can least afford it. And a quote from the Guardian story says, our study shows that extreme climate impacts are not just the result of abstract global emissions. Instead, we can directly link them to our lifestyle and investment choices, which in turn are linked to wealth. And we found that wealthy emitters play a major role in driving climate extremes, which provides strong support for climate policies that target the reduction of those emissions. And also, this is another quote, it has been clearly established that wealthier individuals, through their consumption and investments, create more carbon emissions, while poorer countries, and most of them are located near the equator, bear the brunt of the resulting extreme weather and rising temperatures.
Well, I think you see that clearly, don't you, in the
Yes.
Pacific, where you go to the Pacific
Yeah.
countries that are really experiencing firsthand the impact of climate change, and they're going, well, they're underdeveloped. It's not, they haven't caused, they're not mass producers, they're not, consuming. They don't, half the population doesn't have access to electricity.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
But they are the ones who are actually.
And what do they ask Australia to do?
Well, they say do something about it.
Curb your emissions.
Curb your emissions.
And what do we do? we'd tick another gas field. Yeah. And isn't Australia wanting to host, I think they want to host a COP meeting, but also they want to host the Pacific, I forget what it is, the Pacific Climate Group or something. Or
Yeah, I'm sure there's a
whatever.
few of those things, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're going,
I know.
But again, it's still that same thing. I'm always surprised, and particularly having visited a couple of cities recently, is that thing when you look at Western countries and you're in a city, and it's very beautiful. It's lovely at night time. Cities look great.
Don't
but
they
you
look
go,
lovely?
What about all of that
Power.
that's being generated in offices where there's nobody there? I know there's security issues about wanting to have things lit, but you're going,
I know.
they're lighting up whole buildings that no one's there, and it's just one of those things.
We were just recently in Brisbane, which is quite a large city in Australia, and we had a look from one of their special viewing platforms. It was lovely in the middle of the CBD.
It's very colourful.
And looking
lovely.
out and seeing all the lovely lights all around along the river and buildings lit up. And
you just go back. Remember, there's that poster of the world, like a satellite picture.
Oh, at night time.
At night time, and obviously they've sort of done it across the world as if everyone across the world was in night time to get that image. And you look at the lights across all the populated areas, and of course there's all these other countries that have no lights, and obviously no emissions, no energy use, and you go, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
Pretty phenomenal.
Nope. It's those rich bastards. Which, I mean, we're globally speaking, we're part of it.
Absolutely.
The West is the rich part of the world. But then even in the West, there is the scale.
Yep.
You got those billionaires. What are they good for? Absolutely nothing. That's right. And I like Kevin Hester. I think he said on his side he's got something about we need a judicious trimming from the top, between the jaw and the shoulder of billionaires. And here's my little thing, Cass, for gallows humour. Kevin was saying that we need to, do this trimming from the top, and the French invented a perfect machine to do that, and even better, babe, it's carbon emission neutral. The lovely guillotine, just use this rope to pull it up. Yeah, that's a good solution. All right, and oh my gosh, it's coming up. It's almost 10 to 8. And we've got so many songs to get through, we won't get through them all. But of course, we'll be getting through this one. Who is it, babe?
I presume it must be the Gimme Gimmes.
It is the Gimme Gimmes. And what better song for the Gimme Gimmes to do, even though it isn't this Aussie night tonight, because we saw them over here just last year. They are honorary Aussies, in my opinion. And what a better song than Rich Girl, which is actually by a band that you really love when you... That's right, Hall & Oates.
That's right, good old Hall & Oates.
But I do love the Gimmes version. So here's Rich Girl by Me First and the Gimme Gimmes.
You're a rich girl and you're going too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely on the old man's money. It's a rich girl, but it's gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. Say money won't get you too far, get you too far. Don't you know?
Ah, don't you love the gimmies? 2 minutes, that's quite long enough for a good song, in my opinion. Cass, what do you think? Anything longer?
Concentrated best.
Anything longer is a ballad, really, for the gimmies. We love them. Yes, rich girl. Well, unfortunately, these rich bastards. This new research that we've been talking about that was reported in The Guardian about the richest 10% causing 2/3 of the global warming. This research attempts to specifically quantify how much of that inequality in emissions feeds into climate breakdown. So to do that, they fed wealth-based greenhouse gas emissions inequality assessments into climate modelling frameworks, and they've been able to see the temperatures and the frequency of extreme weather events that have taken place between 1990 and 2019. So that's almost 20 years. No, 30 years.
30.
30 years? Yeah. So by subtracting the emissions of the wealthiest 10%, then they subtracted the emissions of the wealthiest 1%, and then the wealthiest 0.1%, we're getting down to the billionaires now, they modelled the changes to the climate and frequency of extreme weather events that would have taken place without that. And the article continues, that says, and this is quoting, in 2020, the global mean temperature was 0.61 degrees Celsius higher than 1990. And the researchers found that about 65% of that increase could be attributed to emissions from the global richest 10%. So it's a lot. So the wealthier groups bore more disproportionate responsibility. With the richest 1%, like 10% is 2/3, right? 60%. Well, the richest 1% were responsible for 20% of global heating. And the richest 0.1%, which is basically just the billionaires, were responsible for 8%.
But are they talking about when individuals or corporations in that sort of space? Because you obviously have to
Individuals.
So you just
Which are
looking at,
always
like,
associated
consumption.
with
Yeah.
corporations.
But I wonder when they're looking at those statistics, are they looking at the fact of like what companies
I'm not sure. I would
ruling
think that they would
companies,
look into
rather than people's personal
shares,
electricity bills.
but the richest people, they have shares, they have
Yeah.
investments in companies, which are part of the problem. So I'm sure they would have taken that into account. And they go on to say that if everyone had emitted like the bottom 50% in that time
Yeah, we would have
of the global population, the world would have seen minimal
Mm.
additional warming since 1990. And then they said, on the other hand, if the whole world population had emitted the same as the top 10%, which I reckon we can put us in it, most people in Australia, had emitted the same as the top 10% or 1% or 0.1%, the temperature increase would have been 2.9 or 6.7 or 12.2 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
If they emitted like the top 10%. Now, of course, 12.2 degrees Celsius is, I mean, you can't survive in that. We're not going to survive anyway, but you can't definitely, and like 2.9 is, I don't think you can survive that either as well. So the rate of environmental change is the primary factor controlling the continued survival of ecological entities, including populations, communities, species. And then it goes on, The Guardian continues with some wishful thinking. The researchers said they hoped the analysis would inform policy interventions that recognise the unequal contributions to climate breakdown made by the world's wealthiest and foster social acceptance of climate action. Oh, well, that sounds nice, doesn't it, Cass? That sounds good. That sounds something maybe David Attenborough might say. Not David Suzuki, though. Yep.
But I think with all that, I mean, as I'm saying, like that's talking on that energy front, but we were talking earlier today about the fact of it's the consumptions and this constant growth. And I think one of the things that I was struck by in Brisbane and certainly around the Gold Coast region was how many buildings they're building, and you look at how much concrete they're using, and then as we know,
and we were talking about the sand shortage now in the world. That's
what's
right.
What's the core for concrete?
Steel, concrete. That's right.
And you're going, where does this all come from? And the fact that it's minimal.
Yep.
And I mean, talking on that was that other phenomenon of seeing like the as we keep sort of saying about these, not necessarily green solutions, but solutions to climate impact.
Yeah.
And part of the thing on the Gold Coast was with all that incredible erosion is the fact of seeing the boat, the barge out there, which is pumping sand back
onto the beach.
So you're pumping sand back onto the beach, but the whole
that was pretty
question
frightening,
is
actually, seeing the beach there on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
3 metre cliff.
Drop off. Absolutely. But then you go, so they're pulling that sand from somewhere.
Yeah.
And the amount of, I mean, it's that question, isn't it?
There were trucks
How much
going
sand is
all
on the
day.
beach?
There were trucks going every couple of minutes. A truck would come and dump a whole.
And that means
load of
they're
sand on the
taking it
beach.
from somewhere else.
They're taking it from somewhere else.
And if they're dredging it from out in the sea, then what does that mean?
Yeah. So finally, the bottom line comes from the co-authors of this peer-reviewed paper, which says, this is not an academic discussion, it's about the real impacts of the climate crisis today. Climate action that doesn't address the outsized responsibilities of the wealthiest members of our society risks missing one of the most powerful levers we have to reduce future harm. And I reckon that's absolutely correct. It's already far too late to make changes that matter really, babe, I reckon. As pointed out by the Design to Fail, the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, with their conclusions that Earth is already amid the most rapid change in planetary history and that change is irreversible. And that's what it is. Yeah, there's no turning back the clock on where we are now, Cass, unfortunately. If only more influential people who had, what is it, not influence, but public face, like David Suzuki, someone who...
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's just you and me on this little community radio station, which we love deeply, but really, it's not like David Suzuki coming out or David Attenborough on the BBC, say, coming out and saying it. I mean, imagine the...
Well, I think what you would see, you sort of say, what can you do? So absolutely, can you repair the damage? No, because it takes a long time, and for species and for all the... all of our ecological.
That's why.
But you could. But the thing is that it's not going to reverse it.
No.
But say, for example, in COVID, when everything really shut down, and you actually saw, ecospheres that actually did benefit from suddenly the stopping of planes, stopping of shipping, all those things
during COVID.
So the whole thing is that you can't reverse what's been done.
But we can mitigate it.
But you can mitigate it.
And more importantly, Cass, I think, like with Just Collapse, and I always bang on about them, but collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. We can still try and make it a little bit fairer. We're all going down, but why should some people be going down in a hot air balloon while others are going down with a lead brick tied around their legs? You know what I mean? Like... We can make it a little bit fairer. We're all going to go down, but we can make things a little bit fairer, a little bit more just. And that's why I always like to say about Just Collapse, collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. And all those billionaires, that's right. If only we still had the French here. That's the way to go. All right, it's coming up to the end of the hour, Doomsters. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week, maybe with a new guest. I'm not sure. We'll see. But it's so nice having Cass here with me. You're so pointed with your comments, Cass. Very good. I hope you all enjoyed it. And we will see you next week. And we have to go... and a big shout-out. I forgot a big shout-out to Ryan at work, who said he was going to tune in tonight. So big shout out to you, bro. I'll see you tomorrow. And we're going to go out with another great Australian song. We've seen this band many, many times. My Friend the Chocolate Cake. We love Dave Bridie. Of course, he's the brains behind My Friend the Chocolate Cake. And Not Drowning Waving. A Midwife's Tale. One of my faves. And it's got a cello in it, which we love. So... good night, everyone. Take care. Keep building those community relationships. And And as I always say, collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. So give Just Collapse a look. Google them up. Have a look. They're great people down in Tasmania. We're going to go out tonight with A Midwife's Tale by My Friend the Chocolate Cake. And hope to see you soon, Steve. Don't stay too long over in Wales, my friend. And a big shout out to your dad too. I hope he's going okay. All right. Midwife's Tale, My Friend the Chocolate Cake. And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
Good night, Cass. See you, everyone.
My neighbor does some funny things. He's got 3 kids and he's got 6 drinks to go before he sleeps tonight, singing liberation songs out on the front veranda. The neighbor falls asleep out there. He wakes up the next morning with the sun, and it reminds him that it's time. Well, it's off to work we go. There's always one day starting way behind another. I get it back now. Get it back now. I get it back now. I get it back now. I get it back now. Get it back. Get it back now. Get it back now. Dreaming is a casual thing you do if you believe. And just by chance one day the lovely things will come true. But he's well past thinking that. It's now a day-by-day proposal. He's lost his magic Christ. He'd like to get it back now. 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 Get it back. Get it back now. Get it back now. Once upon a time there were so many plans, holidays and blossoms and some fine romance. But it's all behind him now. There's no game plan to be followed. He's lost his magic Christ. He'd like to get it back now. 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 Get it back now.